Hi, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. My name is Jess. I am excited to be making some Christmas cards with you today. If you're popping in, be sure to let us know where you're joining from while everyone gets situated and comes in. We'll take just a few seconds and let everyone kind of come in and get set up and get their views all ready to go. And then we'll go ahead and jump right into our class today. I see some greetings from New Jersey. Hello. Hi in Eastern Iowa. I used to live in Iowa. I'm in Virginia now, though. Hi in Royal Oak and Ohio, Northern California, Wisconsin, Illinois. Oh my goodness. Hello. So many friends joining us today. I hope you are all having an amazing day. It's a little gloomy here and cold for the first time on the East Coast over here where I am in Virginia. So we're finally getting some fall weather now that it's November. Today, we're going to be making some Christmas cards using supplies from Ranger Ink and Michaels. And we are focusing on easy Christmas cards that you can make a lot of. And I know we all have kind of a lot of people on our lists this time of year. So I'm excited to share these with you. A little bit about me as a creator. If you missed it, my name is Jess Francisco. I am on YouTube and Instagram as @LoveJessCo. It's down over here if you want to check me out on social media, but I work closely with Ranger and I'm excited to be here on behalf of Ranger today to make these cards with you and just share some about their products. If you have any questions along the way, if you need to know anything about the products we're using, or if you need me to kind of go over something again, pop it in the chat. I have Patty from Ranger here as well, who will be in the comments chatting with you guys, answering questions, and providing links for you. So we'll go ahead and jump right in and get started. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the desktop camera. So hang tight just one sec. All right. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna move my mouse out of the way so we don't have that over here. All right, so taking a look at our cards for today, we're going to be making these traditional Christmas colored cards, but you can definitely switch this up and use whatever color palette is like speaks to you. So these are made with some distress inks. And we're also using a really gorgeous stamp set from Tim Holtz. Now, we just realized that this stamp set is not currently available. I do believe it will be back in stock. When we planned the class, it was definitely available, but unfortunately, it looks like it's not currently available right now, but keep your eyes open on the Michaels website. Hopefully it will be back in stock soon. This is the stamp set we're going to be using. Patty will also link to stamps on the Michaels website for us. So if you find a stamp set that's similar or something that could work in place of this, you can absolutely substitute something else. It doesn't have to be this exact stamp set, but this just gives us kind of an idea and a jumping off point. So what we're going to do is take some white cardstock. Now I work mostly on A2 sized cards. Now that is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I have some card panels already cut to that size here that we're going to be using today. The card base, so what you fold in half, should be 5.5 by 8.5. So you just cut an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper or cardstock in half. And you can actually do it lengthwise or hamburger style or hot dog style if you're going back to the school settings. But either way, you could do a top folding card. We're going to go ahead and do them this way. But if you had the long skinny portion, you can use that as well. And it would just open from the top instead. So you have some options there. This cardstock is Michaels 65-pound cardstock. I generally also like to use a 110-pound cardstock for the base. This is a little thinner than I like to use for the base. So if you have a 110-pound cardstock, that's what I would recommend. But for the card panel or front, 65-pound cardstock is perfect as well. Michaels carries both. They have their Recollections white cardstock in 65-pound and 110-pound. I was trying to use the least amount of supplies so people didn't feel like they had to go out and buy a ton of stuff. So we've got our cardstock here. I'm going to start with just one piece here. I am going to use, just to keep my surface clean and get my stamps where I want them, I'm going to use my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. This is a magnetic work surface that allows you to keep your work where you want it. It works really great with stencils. That's when I use it the most. And then we also have our perfect stamp positioner as well. And all of these products should be available on the Michaels website for you. We're going to go ahead and start with our green Christmas card, I think. And then we'll move on to the red with the bird here. What we're going to do to get started, I'll kind of have this off to the side so we can use it as a reference point. What we're going to do is do some stamping, and we're going to take our Christmas tree image. This is a cling rubber stamp. So in order to use this, you need an acrylic block. I have this acrylic block from Michaels. It's the Recollections brand. And when I use mine, I'm actually not sure if there's a specific way you're supposed to do this, but what I like to do is keep the grid side. There's kind of like a laser etched grid on this. I like to keep this facing me just because I can see it a little bit better versus this way. I don't know. This side is smooth, so it makes sense to me to put it down this way so that you get a nice cling with your stamp rather than having those etched lines, which may make the stamp come off a little bit easier. But you use the acrylic block to pick it up, and then we're ready to go ahead and put ink onto the stamp. We're going to be using some distress inks. I have the full-size pads here, but these actually do come in mini cubes, which you can snag at Michaels, and they come in a set of 4. So this collection has a few of the newer distress ink colors. So it has Rustic Wilderness and Crackling Campfire, which we're using today. This is a little bit more of an orange, but I think it actually worked perfect. Like it's kind of a mix of a reddish orange. So it has some orange tones to it, but it looks great for Christmas cards too. So you can use it as a traditional red as well. And then we've got Kitsch Flamingo and Speckled Egg. Now these two we won't be using today, but they do come in that mini kit. So you get all 4 of them in that one pack. They're just a smaller ink cube size. So we're going to start with our Rustic Wilderness. I'm going to set the cap here so you guys can see the color name. And then we're going to go ahead and ink this up. So this is a felt pad, and it just allows you to get a really nice impression on your ink. What's the difference about distressed inks and say pigment inks? That's a great question. So distressed inks are water reactive. And they dry fairly quickly. So a pigment ink will sit on top of the paper and stay wet for a significant amount of time. It gives you time to maybe do heat embossing or other effects, but a distress ink soaks into the paper and also is reactive with water. So when we go to stamp this, distress inks don't always stamp crystal clear. Distress oxides, which is another product from Ranger, are really good for stamping. Distress inks sometimes will have a more like rustic or faded sort of effect, as they don't, they're more meant for techniques than straight stamping, but you can still get really cool effects with these. So what I'm going to do is flip this right over, place it where I want it, and then go ahead and press my stamp and the acrylic block directly into the surface here. You can see I got an excellent stamp, but if you're using a solid image stamp, you may not want to use a distress ink. You may opt for the distress oxide instead, because those give you a nice impression where you don't have as much color variation. In this, I was kind of going for that effect, so I think this works perfect for that. But again, the distress inks are really good for techniques and water reactive, techniques that you might want to do. I'm sorry, repeating the same words there. All right, so what we're going to do is actually take a piece of scrap paper, which I realize I don't have. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of my card base or my card panels here. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up again, same color. We're not using more than one color here. We're just going to go ahead and ink it up again. And I do apologize if there's jet noise in the background. I'm not sure if you will be able to hear it or not. We have some military activity that goes on here sometimes. So I apologize if there's any noise in the background. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this once on an extra sheet of paper over here. So that's just a scrap. And then without cleaning it or doing anything else, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again slightly higher than the other one that I stamped on our original paper. So now you can see we're getting some color variation with our inks here. So it looks almost like we used two different colors. This technique is called second generation stamping, and it really allows you to stretch your supplies and your stamps and get more without having to have so many colors. So you don't have to have a lighter green and a darker green. You can just use the ink that's left over on the stamp and stamp it again, and you get another color variation there. So we're going to do the same thing. Just looking at my reference here, we're going to go ahead and have a darker image down lower on the side. Now the placement here is totally up to you. There's nothing that you need to, like, it has to be in this exact position or anything like that. You guys can put them wherever you want. I do like to go off the page just so that it looks a little more natural and we get kind of a varied height effect with those. The nice thing about working on this surface as well is you can just wipe it clean. So I just have a very dirty cloth that I keep on my desk when I'm crafting, and I just wipe it clean, and then voila, no more ink, no more mess. And then we're going to go ahead and do another second generation stamp over here. I do notice, I don't know if you can tell with the light, I'm going to try to turn it angled so you can see. There's a line here where our paper was, and I don't want that difference in the color to go onto our paper here, because otherwise we're going to have a very dark portion and then a very light portion, and you're definitely going to be able to see that. So what I'm going to do is just wipe that off. I'm going to go ahead and stamp another one on this paper first, our scrap paper, which I can also use. I don't have to just use it as a scrap. I can definitely use that for a card. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that here first. Perfect. And then we're going to go over on the side and stamp one a little lower with our second generation stamping. Perfect. All right. So then you can see we've got our nice tree background here all ready to go. Yes, absolutely. Yep. You can make two cards at once. Absolutely. Yep. It's totally up to you. I think eventually you would have to, I mean, maybe you could just swap them. I was just trying to think about the second generation, how it would work. You could actually. Yep. So you could stamp once on this one and then the off stamping on this one, and then once on this one and the off stamping on this one. That's a good idea. I didn't think about that. You guys are coming with your brains ready to work. I'm over here like, oh yes, this is a scrap, but you could still use it for a card, and you guys are coming with all the ideas. I love it. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that you could actually use the second stamp from each one to make two cards. That's perfect. That makes this even better for making lots of Christmas cards. I absolutely love that. So this one, if you do end up like I just did, I'm going to see if this works. I don't know if this will bleed through or not. So I'm going to test it and see. I don't think you'll be able to see it too much, but I'm going to try it. So if I stamped on the back of this as my scrap sheet, and then come back over here, I'm going to move this one out of the way and do my second generation stamping. Yeah, I think that will work. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. You keep saying water reactive, but I don't know enough about, okay, I'm sorry, that's my fault. I can definitely explain that. So what I mean when I say water reactive is that when you stamp these, if you put water on top of it, it will react with it. And the way that it reacts is that it moves, it's sort of like watercolor. That's kind of how I think about it. It's like watercolor for beginners, or for people who, like me, are not super great at watercolor, but can definitely do things with an ink pad. So I can actually show you in just a second, because I'm going to be using, I'll show you in just a second, actually. So we've got two backgrounds here. I'm going to set those aside so I can show you what I mean. If you see this dark border here, you might think that this is colored cardstock, but it's not. I actually created my own cardstock, coordinating cardstock, by ink swiping directly onto this piece of cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. What I'm going to do, because I want this to be slightly smaller than the original card size, I'm actually going to use my paper trimmer here, And I'm going to cut this down just a little bit. So this one that I have, I'm going to want to be 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to be the green layer here. There's no sound. Are you guys are able to hear me, right, Patty? Yes. Okay, perfect. I just double checking. I got nervous all of a sudden. I'm like, but I think people are responding to me. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to double check, make sure that nothing happened in the middle. Okay, thank you all so much. I appreciate you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and set that aside. So this one, just to repeat, 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. The card base, so what the card will be mounted onto, is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to put this over here just so it's close by, but not out of reach. And then our smallest panel, which is going to be this one, is going to be 3.75 by 5. So we'll trim that down in here in just a moment. So this is going to be the green piece that goes back here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our distress ink, and we're actually going to, I like to lift it up first, but this is just personal preference. And we're just going to swipe it directly onto the paper. It's perfectly fine for you to do this. It won't destroy your ink pads. You can definitely do this. I do this a lot to create coordinating cardstock colors when I don't have something that already matches. Then you don't have to feel like you have to go out and buy 36 different colors of cardstock to match every color you're using. If you have the ink pad, you have coordinating cardstock. So all I'm going to do is just go right along the outside here. Now this will stay wet slightly longer than if you just stamp it, just because you're using more ink. But it does still dry fairly quickly. And then I'm going to show you as well what I mean about the water reactive on, I'll just do it in the center of this card. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really like to do this because I don't have enough room in my craft room to store all the things that I would like to buy. And, you know, sometimes you have to get creative with figuring out how to make something work. And then you don't even have to do the whole inside, right? Yes, you do. You always need more cardstock. Hey, if that's what gets you through, that's okay too. I'm always let me figure out a way to spend less money on this thing so I can buy more stamps. I always want to have more stamps. So there you go. Now we have our very own green piece of cardstock. Now what I'm going to do is I have this little, oh, I don't have my ink blending tool though. Do I have one here? Hold on one second. I've got my little drawer. Oh, I do. Perfect. Okay. I had one close enough that I didn't have to get up. All right. So I've got an ink blending tool here. You can actually, this isn't part of the card, so you guys don't have to do this, but I wanted to show you what it was, what I meant when we said water reactive. So this is the difference between the ink of when you blend it on versus when you swipe it on. When you swipe it on, you're getting a lot more ink. So you have a very much darker appearance in the ink. When you blend it on, there's just significantly less ink on the page. The paper isn't as saturated. So you get a lighter color, but you can continue to layer ink on. Now, just a reminder, if you are just making the card and you're not interested in seeing the water reactive, you don't have to do this. You store the dauber under. I do. I have a little Velcro dot on the bottom and I just Velcro it right on there. So it's always there with the ink pad. So that's that. Let me grab my water. All right, here we go. Okay, so I have a distress ink sprayer. This is just water. This is nothing fancy. It's just water. What I do is I spray it into my hand like this, and then I drop it onto the card like that. It's not fancy. There's nothing to it that is fancy, but it gives a really cool effect. So if we let it sit for just a moment, you'll start to see, or at least I hope you will. Sometimes the lighting doesn't show us as best. That tip makes the whole class. Oh my gosh. I'm here for you for your crafting needs. So here we go. If you can see this, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera here. I hope you can. This is what I mean when I say it's water reactive. So when you put water on it, it lightens the color like you would with watercolor or something like that. And then we can go in with our cloth and soak it up. You can also use like a paper towel if you don't have a cloth at your desk or something. But then once it looks more varied in person than it does here, but you can see that lift in the color there. And that's what I mean when I say it's water reactive. So the other thing too is that you are able to, let's say we wanted to do like an ink smooshing or something like that. You can smoosh directly onto your ink pad. There's a hair there, I'm so sorry. And then spritz it with water. And then you can just take your paper. Now this isn't made for water techniques, but it should hold a little bit of water. But you see there, you can get kind of like a watercolor wash. And it looks like you've done some amazing watercolor, except all you did was plop your paper into some ink and you're good to go. So you can get some different results that way by using them. Now, a pigment ink, I'm not sure. I think it probably depends on the ink, but you may be able to do some techniques like this, but these ones are specifically formulated for you to be able to do ink techniques like this. So then you can create cool backgrounds and use them on your cards. But yes, so that's the water reactive portion of it. So we've got ink blending with the water, which lifts the color, and then mixing the ink with water so you can get a different reaction that way, which I think is really cool. We're still going to use this one. The color is a little darker, but that's okay. Okay, so do you have to spray before the ink dries? No. So the thing about distress inks is that they are always going to be water reactive. So let's say you make a card and you wait 4 months and then you come back to it and you spray it with water, it is still going to react with the water. You may want to, if you were going to use it for something that possibly might get wet at some point, you may want to try to seal it. And there is a product called Distress Micro Glaze, which helps with that. It creates kind of like a barrier on the top where you are able to kind of seal the color in. But for cards or anything like that, where it's just kind of like a paper thing that's going to stay dry, you don't need to worry about that. Let me catch up and make sure I'm not missing anything. I get it. Okay, what do you mean by having a Velcro dot on the bottom? Oh, on the bottom of the ink pad. So you see how the little ink blending foam is just hanging out there. There's like a little circle cut out of Velcro there, and it sticks the because the ink blending tool is Velcro right here, and that's what holds it on when you blend. So I bought some little, I think I got them on Amazon maybe, but I bought little circles of Velcro, and then I just pop the little blending foam directly on there, and then it doesn't fall off. It just stays right there on the bottom of the ink pad. So it's always there. What type of paper to use mixing the ink with water? Yeah, watercolor paper would be great. Tim Holtz makes a distress paper, a distress cardstock, watercolor cardstock that you can use. And I do believe Michael's carries that as well. Patty, I hope you can, sorry, I'm throwing a lot at you right now. I know we weren't planning on talking about any of this. Big thanks to Patty right now, because she's a rock star and she's keeping up with all this random stuff we're talking about. You can get the dots at Michael's as well. Oh, perfect. Martha, thank you so much. Does the ink not go all over from okay, so full disclosure, it can. I would recommend storing them somewhere where it doesn't matter if the ink gets on the bottom, because yes, when it is sitting, it can transfer ink from the bottom of this to whatever it's sitting on. So yes. Oh, thanks, Tish. Did I miss anything? Do you need to wash that Velcro pad off each time? No, no, but I have a specific one for each color. So you can see on the bottoms, oh, well, I don't have one on that one, apparently. That was a bad example. But on the bottom of each one, I keep an individual foam pad for every color because I am very particular about it, but I don't think everyone needs that. I just use a lot, and I try to do specific blends, and this, I don't know. personally like them to have one dot for each color, but you don't have to. If you have one for each color family, that would be fine. And all you would need to do is take the foam blending tool on some scrap paper and just blend until you don't have any ink coming off anymore. Like right until the color is not transferring onto your cardstock or your paper anymore. And then you can safely use it in another ink pad. If for some reason you do get transference from your foam pad to an ink pad, let's say, you can actually take the lid off and just swipe the ink pad on a piece of cardstock until that color is gone, and you're fine. Your ink pad won't be contaminated forever. It's not going to ruin your ink pad. And I've gotten some of these tips from Tim Holtz, so I trust that he knows since they're his products. I'm like, yes, okay, you've got this. Okay, can you use these with clear? Yes, absolutely. I use clear stamps mostly. Rubber stamps are the thing that I don't have the most of in my craft room, but I do have some. I mostly use clear stamps. I love a good photopolymer stamp. They are something special. So what I'm going to do is trim this paper down to 3.75 by 5. And what I'm going to do is just take a little bit off of each side because I don't want my design to get too off-centered. So you could also cut this down ahead of time. You don't have to do it now, but sometimes I find that my patterns or whatever I'm working with, they don't look exactly, I don't know. I like to have the ability to cut off part of the side and make the pattern where I want it versus kind of being stuck with whatever comes naturally when you stamp. I'm going to cut off just the touch of the bottom where I see the end or the bottom of these stamps here with the trees, so that all I have at the bottom is just that dark line. I don't have any harsh bottoms of the stamp. And then I'll do the remainder of the cutting off from the top. So I want it to be 5 inches, and then the width was 3.75. And now we have our perfect little card panel for the front. And would you believe it, we're almost done with this card already. Oh, perfect. Yes, yes. I love the distress inks. I think they're great. And for whatever stamps might not work well, like a solid image stamp maybe might not work well with a distress ink. Distress oxide has you covered. I use those a ton for just regular stamping and sentiment stamping. So they work perfectly for that as well. I also have an ink blender. Yes, I love having them like that. It's so nice. Thanks, Marcy. The class is being recorded. Absolutely. Yes. Yep. You can see the replay of the class on the Michael's YouTube channel within 24 to 48 hours or so. And also on the Michael's website, I believe. Okay. So I'm going to use a tape runner. This one is from Recollections. It would help if I had it not upside down. I can't be, did I have it upside down? Maybe I didn't. I can't be the only one who does this sometimes. Oh no, I had it right. It just wasn't quite at the top there. Tell me I'm not alone, friends. Am I the only one trying to use my tape runners upside down? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and place this directly on top of our coordinating colored cardstock that we created. There we go. And try my best to get it even, but sometimes we're not perfect. It's handmade, which means you have a little room for error, right? Minor imperfections are okay. You're not alone. Yes, thank you all. Okay, so before I go ahead and mount this to my card base, I'm gonna stamp out our sentiment. So we're gonna go back to this main stamp set here, and I'm gonna pull off the Merry Christmas stamp set. And if I know I want my stamp to be kind of right here in the center of this area, I can go ahead and find my other stamp acrylic block. Here we go. Oh, it's a little too small. I'm going to use the big one. I didn't bring enough acrylic blocks, apparently. All right, so we're going to use the large one here. What I'm going to do to help me get this in the right place, I'm going to use this perfect stamp positioner. It's magnetic, so it's going to stick directly here. I've got my acrylic block already in place, and I'm going to just place that right there. So I know exactly where to line that up before I press it down. Oh, Barbara, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm here to help. Whatever questions you have, let me know. Such a good class. I'm sorry, mostly. No worries. Absolutely. T-Mac, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Has anyone used the Tombow? I don't know if I have tried a Tombow tape runner. The one that I'm using is from Recollections and it's working really nicely. I also have a larger one, I believe that Michael sells, which is the ATG or Advanced Tape Glider. And that works really nicely as well. What size was the homemade cardstock? The coordinating piece that we made is 4 by 5 1/4. And then the smaller white piece is 3.75 by 5. All right, so I've got my ink here. I'm a little clumsy, so if I drop this, please don't hate me. But I've got my stamp positioner right here. I'm going to slide it into place right there and then let it press down and it should be right where we wanted it. The ink that I'm using here is Archival black ink from Ranger. It's called Jet Black and I find it works really nicely for sentiments. Oh my goodness. It looks so crisp and beautiful on the first try. Oh, look at it. All right, so we've got our Merry Christmas all ready to go. Our sentiment is done. And we're going to go ahead and use our tape runner again. And I'm going to grab the card base that we pulled out. So we've got our 5. So this is an A2 size card base. This is 5 1/4. I'm sorry, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So 4.25 by 5.5. And that's our card base. So that's where this is going to go directly on top of like this. And see, we've got a nice mat there. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this. Now, just so you all know, my paper is a little bit wet because I did the water technique. So it is a little softer than yours will be because you won't need to do the water technique on yours. So the edges of mine are a little soft just because I flicked water on it and this is not a watercolor cardstock, but it's okay. It will dry and it will be okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and line that up as best as I can. I'm not always perfect. Sometimes my cards are crooked and that's okay. Okay, what is the name? Hold on, love the stamp positioner. It doesn't limit where one stamp's on the page. Yes, yep, so you can get it at Michael's. This one, thank you, Patty. It's the perfect stamp positioner set. Yep, so it's nice. And I love it's a really strong magnet, so it stays in place. So you don't have to worry about it shifting when you try to go to put the stamp down. It's really nice. Okay, so I did see one other question. Hold on. Was there another one? I thought there was. I purchased one just using Recollections. Oh no. Okay, so the volume maybe isn't very high. I don't know. Maybe I haven't used it very much. It's doing okay so far, but I think I have another one in case we run out. I'm not sure how much tape comes in them, to be honest. So we're almost done. The last thing that we're going to do is add a little bit of Stickles Glitter Gel. And you're thinking, wait, what? Hold on. You don't have to do this. This is optional. But I do love the way this works. So what I'm going to do is just take a paintbrush. Let me find one. I knew I would forget something. You know what? Honestly, I'm not even going to use a paintbrush. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my finger. We're living on the edge, friends. Okay, so what I am going to do though is take a little bit out. I don't like to stick my finger in the glitter gel if I can help it because I'm worried about contaminating it, especially because I get inky fingers. And especially with a color like this is very pure and clear and white, and I don't want to ruin it. So I take a little bit out. Also, I don't want to introduce germs in there. I'm not really sure if that's an issue, but it could be. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to just go ahead and take my finger and spread this on. Now, you could use a paintbrush and paint this on and it would work. And, you know, that would be totally fine. Yes, refillable. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I usually also use an ATG, which is an advanced tape glider. I believe Michael's also sells that. But it has refills. So I only bought the big, it's a lot larger. But yeah, it is nice to have the refills. So you're not having to worry about that. It doesn't smear the ink. It does a little bit. It does. I want to be totally transparent with you all. It does smear the ink a little bit. So the only thing you want to be careful with is that you don't go outside of your line, right? Because if you have a little bit of the ink smeared on the inside, it just looks like that it's green. It doesn't smear it enough that it ruins the image, but it just adds that little bit of sparkle. If you go outside of the lines, right? So this is why you might want to use a paintbrush so you can have a little more control over where you're putting it. You could also do this step before you attach this to your card base, but that's okay. Oh, thank you, Patty. I appreciate you. Yeah, so these are actually water-based. They are. They do cause a slight amount of smearing as you rub it around. So you do want to try to be intentional with where you're putting things. So you're not just kind of like globbing it on. You don't want to use more than you need to. But it just adds a little bit of something extra. When it dries, it will not be as shiny like this. It will dry very much more matte, but still sparkly. So you've got a little bit of that wet shine going on right now, but once it dries, it looks absolutely beautiful. Just a little bit of sparkle like on this one. Let's see if we can catch it in the light. Oh, I saw it for a second there. There it is. So that one's all dry and ready to go. Is this your first? Oh, this is actually, Sue, hold on one sec. I got a little distracted there. Stickles would work as well, but this is a Stickles product called Stickles Glitter Gel. So it's kind of an amped up version of Stickles glitter glue. It's a little bit more thick than a Stickles regular glitter glue. But this one is just kind of like a more paste gel sort of version of it, but it's very, very similar. It just has a little bit, it has a clear base. And then it has the glitter and little things added into it. We just launched some new colors as well. And I'm really excited about the Stickles Glitter Gel. They're just really beautiful. It's not our first class. So we've taught a few over the last year or so. And I'm really loving it. Patty and I are a good duo. We work well together, I think. Someone called us the dynamic duo earlier, and I think that's appropriate. We do have a lot of fun. So that's it. That's our first card. And we're a little behind because we've been getting lots of good information. So we're going to try to jump right into the next one. I'm going to set this one aside to dry, and we're going to go ahead and work on this one. So to create this second card, we're going to do some of the same techniques. Is the glitter, my goodness, I can't speak. Is the glitter gel clear or white? It's clear. This particular one, it has a clear base, and then it has some kind of iridescent sparkles added into it. So it is clear. So if you had it on top of something white, it would make a perfect snow. But yeah, absolutely. Oh, thanks, Susie. Okay, so for this one, we're actually going to do red. We're going to create the cardstock around the outside the same exact way. I'll actually go ahead and start with that just so that has some time to kind of sit and dry. It doesn't need much, but it's just something. A paint also exists that will dry 100%. Michael sells it called Extreme Glitter. Only the glitter is colored. The glitter also won't fall. Oh, interesting. I haven't heard of it. I'll have to check it out. I love glitter, and I love glitter that doesn't get everywhere. That's one of the things that I really love about the glitter gel is that I don't have glitter falling off all over the place and getting everywhere. I do enjoy that because you can add that little bit of sparkle without having to worry about glitter being all over your house for the rest of your life. All right, I'm going to go this way. The nice thing about this is that you don't have to be exact. You really can just swipe it all over. The inside doesn't matter at all. If it's ugly, that's okay. We don't care about that because no one's going to see it, right? As long as your little outside portion there is nice and colored and you've got that little strip of border that's colored on the outside, you don't even have to worry about it. I probably go a little too far in. You could definitely use less, but for the sake of hurrying and like trying to actually get through our cards, this is what we're going with. I think it's okay. All right, so we got one more sheet of paper that's coming up. So I'm going to start with this blank sheet of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull out the bird stamp. And we're going to do some repeat stamping here. So all we're going to do is put our bird on our acrylic block, pick it right up. Since it's a cling stamp, sticks to the acrylic, not the black. What am I doing? That's not what I wanted. I'm glad I caught myself before I did that. I mean, we could have had a nice black bird on our, but that seems more of a Halloween card than Christmas. We're going to use the crackling campfire. So we're still using that same set of 4. We had our rustic wilderness, crackling campfire, and then we have 2 other colors that come in that kit as well, speckled egg and kitsch flamingo. So if you want some non-traditional Christmas, you were teaching us how to clean off the block, right? Yes, exactly. You understand. That's perfect. That was the intent all along. We're going to go ahead and stamp or ink this right up with the crackling campfire. Perfect. And I'm going to stamp the dark. Oh, you can't see that. I'm going to start stamp the darkest image that I want first and kind of get that placement just so that I have it here. So I think probably around here will be good. And then what we're going to do is the same exact thing that we did before, which honestly, I'm probably just going to do on the back of this sheet since we're not going to see this part anyway. I'm going to do my 2nd generation stamping again. So I wanted a faded color of this same color without having to use a 2nd ink pad. So I missed a spot right here. There we go. I'm going to stamp it on the back of this one first. And then I'm going to come right over here. And I think I'm going to start off the paper a little bit right there. We're going to ink it up. Is your cleaning cloth? It's dry. Although once I start doing stuff, it does get a little wet, but not much. I'm going to stamp this again on my scrap paper. And then we're going to go right on over here. Oh, moving my papers around and stamp one here. Perfect. And the placement isn't really super important. It's just kind of giving the effect that this is a like piece of patterned paper, maybe. That is all we're going for. Okay, we're going to do another one, maybe like right here. Perfect. Have you tried just stamping again on your card rather than re-inking and stamping on another paper and then the card? So the only difference is the color. So you could definitely do them all the same color. I just wanted to have one that was darker than the other ones. And that's the only reason I am doing it this way, is just because it was a personal preference thing. But if you wanted them all the same color, absolutely. You could definitely do them all that way and it would be perfect. All right, I'm going to kind of put the tail this way like that. And then, oh no, I forgot to stamp it. Oh man. See, now I have a bright red tail. Oh man. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and put like one little bit of the head right here. And then I'll see if I can get another one out of it right here. I can. Okay, cool. So that's the difference, is now I've got this red. That's my fault. What about sparkle that didn't go all over the place? Someone was mentioning that there was a product from Michaels that was good for glitter that didn't go everywhere, but also one that you could use. Well, we were using sparkle glitter, Stickles Glitter Gel on our card, like for the sparkle on here. We used Stickles Glitter Gel, but someone had mentioned also that there was a product from Michaels. Oh, extreme glitter paint. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I haven't tried that. All right. So the other thing that we're going to do is apply. I'm going to use this Distress embossing pen to apply this. You could, we have options. You could do a few different things here. You could either use an embossing ink, a clear embossing ink, and just stamp right over this, right? Like this. You could stamp right over it. And then you would be good to go. Because we're going to use some glitter. I'm stuck on glitter now. We're going to use embossing glaze from Distress, also Ranger. I'm just going to color it on where I want it to go, because that's going to be the easiest thing for me to do. I think it'll be less messy. Honestly, we could use an embossing ink as well. Either way would be fine. I'm going to use a coffee filter to catch the embossing glaze and then pour it back in. This is not a craft supply, but that's okay. So the Distress embossing pen is embossing ink in a pen. So it's the same as what you would use on like in an ink pad that was for embossing, only it's just in a pen. So what I'm going to do is be careful not to go outside of the lines, because since this is wet, it may smear a little bit. But I'm just going to go right over top of this. This is just what I had on hand. If you have an embossing ink pad that you want to use, feel free to use that instead. Don't feel obligated to have the embossing pen. However, the embossing pen is nice for when you want to kind of keep your embossing powder or embossing glaze or whatever it is in one particular spot. Now, if you're wondering what in the heck is embossing glaze, it is an embossing powder that is translucent. So the base is translucent. All right, so we're good there. I'm going to go ahead and put this over top here. You'll see what it looks like here in just a second, but I'm going to take the lid off. It's just in a powder form, just like an embossing powder. The only difference is, and there are some embossing powders that are also transparent base, so it's not like the first one ever to be like that, but you will be able to see through the glaze. It's not opaque. So when we heat this, it's not going to be completely covering our image. You'll still be able to see the dots and everything through it, but it tints over top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got a little bit of stray powder. I'm just going to tap the side here. If you have a paintbrush, you could use like a dry paintbrush to get rid of any excess powder. Most of mine came right off, but just kind of check it and see if you've got any powder. Now you can also treat this with an anti-static powder tool first to help prevent anything from sticking to your card where you don't want it, anywhere you didn't put the embossing pen. And then I'm just going to take this coffee filter and pour the excess powder right back into the jar. I spilled a little and then put the cap back on before we turn on any heat tools, because we don't want our powder blowing all over the place. Now, again, I did accidentally spill a little bit. Pro tip, if you're looking for embossing powder solutions, keep some Swiffer dusters cut up at your craft table, and you can use them to pick up the embossing powder. Oh, Leslie, sorry about your pocketbook. Okay, I'm going to use a heat tool here. Any heat tool you have will work. I apologize if this is a little noisy. I want to shop. Look, I understand. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to try to keep it away from the microphone just so that it's not super loud, but I apologize in advance if it's loud. Here we go. Done. Just like that, we're done. It's quick and easy. All you're waiting for is for the, oh, you see that? Ooh, so shiny, so pretty. All we're doing is waiting for that powder to turn from a dull, flat powder to a shiny powder. Well, it's no longer like a powder, it's melt. I don't know what the word is for that, but we're waiting for it to turn shiny. Magic. And as soon as it turns shiny on that spot, you just keep moving to the next spot. If you keep your heat on it too long, it can make the effects not as nice, but it turns out beautifully. So just long enough to start, you can see the transformation happen, and then you're good to go. And now we have it, you can rub it, you can touch it, and it's just a shiny spot on your card that wasn't there before, right? You created that extra nice touch to your card. What did I miss about filters and dusting cloths? Oh, so the coffee filter, I used the coffee filter when I was pouring the powder on to catch the excess powder, and then I poured the powder back into the jar so you don't waste it, right? It makes your product last longer. It saves you on mess. So just a coffee filter for that. And then a Swiffer duster cloth is for if you keep some at your desk, you can use it to clean up stray bits of embossing powder from your desk that may have spilled. And since that's meant to pick up dust, it picks up those tiny little particles of the embossing powder perfectly. What kind of heat tool are you using? Oh, yes, this is a Wagner heat tool. Any heat tool should be fine. I know that Michaels carries some different varieties of them. Ranger also has a heat tool. This one is like industrial, like for the garage, but it works perfectly for embossing as well. This one is called, it's a Wagner is the brand. Yeah. Okay, so we are good to move on. And now we can grab our piece of coordinating cardstock, which did I cut that already? No, I can't remember. Let me measure it. Oh, thanks, Leslie. Yes, heat guns are very hot. They are made for like industrial heating of things. Oh yeah, I do need to trim this down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So it is a good thing I went a little wider. Can also heat over a toaster. Oh my goodness, I never thought of that. That's an intriguing idea. I've never tried that. I have no idea. If I mean, you say it works, I believe you. That's wild. Sorry. No, that's okay, Martha. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. You're using the heat tool. Could you use a hairdryer? Okay, I haven't tried a hairdryer. However, I have a feeling that the hairdryer is too dispersed with the air. The thing about the heat tool is that it is a very concentrated area of heat. I can't touch this because it is extremely hot, but it is really concentrated, this little circle here of where the heat is coming out. And a hair dryer, it's like too intense and it's so wide that I don't know that it would work, but I've never tried it. You can hold paper snow for them. Oh my goodness. You guys are cracking me up today. I'm here for this. All right, so what we're going to do is trim this one down as well. This one needs to be 3.75 by 5, just the same as our last card. So I'm going to trim, let's see, 1/4 inch off this side. And then we're going to do the same over here. So 3.75 by 5. Got it. And then I think I'm just going to take some off the top because it's nice and positioned at the bottom. No campfires. And we want 5 inches. There we go. And this is just a paper trimmer from Fiskars. You can get this at Michael's as well. You can change the blades out. I think they may have a scoring blade as well. And then we're going to layer this right on top like this, right? Yay. Oh my gosh, our card is coming together. Okay, and then we already have another card base cut. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to assemble everything. And then all we have left is the sentiment. Don't use the heat gun, getting bubbles out of resin. Oh my goodness. Resin dried the sweat. Oh no. That's horrible. Yikes. When rubber stamping got popular, people bought the heat tools at the hardware store. Yeah. A wallpaper stripper. Oh, interesting. Oh, we're getting a history lesson too. This class has been so cool. I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense. A lot of, oops, I'm going the wrong. See, I had it upside down again. A lot of things in the craft industry are used in other industries as well. And then you're right, the companies do come out with their own versions. And honestly, I'm a sucker for it because when a company comes out with something and it's a pretty color that matches my craft room, I am here for it because some of this stuff that's like meant for hardware or whatever, it's industrial looking and it's not very pretty. And I am here for the pretty colors and things like that. I have one I bought from back in 2005 from Stampabilities. Yes. Yeah. When you get the right tools and they're good quality, they can last you forever. Did I miss the stamp link? Okay. So the thing about this stamp is when we planned the class, it was available on the website, but unfortunately since then it appears to have gone out of stock. Keep your eyes on the website. I do believe it should be coming back in stock. I hope that it will. If you have something similar, you can definitely substitute something else, but definitely keep your eyes on the website and they may have it back in stock again. All right, so the only thing we're missing here now that we've done our embossing glaze is we need a sentiment. I have some that are already cut, but I want to go ahead and show you how I did it. I don't even have a black one. They're all red. Wait, do I? I don't know. I had some that were already, oh, I do. Okay, I have one that's already cut. But all I did really and truly was take, which honestly, I can use one of these scraps. Oh, I'm going to use one of the scraps that we cut off of our paper just for the sake of not having to cut something else, right? And we're going to take our Merry Christmas stamp set. We're going to go ahead and take our bird off and get our stamp on here. Boom. Okay, and we're going to use the archival ink as well. My son he's an HVAC technician, was shocked. Yes, my husband actually borrowed my heat tool once to put vinyl flooring in our bathroom. He was like, I don't really want to buy a tool. Would it be okay if I borrowed your heat tool? I need to floor the bathroom. You could put your sentiment down there and cover. Oh, that's a good idea, Tish. I could. All right, I'm going to go ahead and try my best to stamp this in the middle. I'm not very good at placement, to be completely honest. We'll see what happens. I need a typing class. Oh no. Oh yay. Okay, it actually turned out okay. I was a little worried. So we can, this is a little overkill for what size this is. What about going to the store? Oh, true. You could. I'm not sure if this particular one is available in the store, but you could definitely check. I'm going to try to keep the outside edges similar size to where it is at the top and bottom here. It's not perfect, but again, this is handmade. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then there, just like that, we have a little sentiment strip that we can use. Now, absolutely optional. This is, you don't have to do this. You can glue this directly on and that would be the end of it. You could tape it, but I like to use some foam tape just because I like to add a little bit of added interest or pizzazz to my cards. So I got a pair of scissors here. My dog is snoring next to me. I put them right to sleep. I'm just using some foam tape here. And then making sure, yep, it's the right size, the right piece. It wasn't just a random scrap. There we go. And you just peel off the back. Boom. And we've got our Merry Christmas ready to go. We're going to pop it right up here at the top, hopefully centered. It's not quite centered. Perfect. And there you have it. Our second card is done. So we have just made 2 Christmas cards, which you can absolutely mass produce. You can make multiples of these at a time. You can do all your stamping at once, then go back and do your glaze, do all your stamping at once, then come back and do your sentiments. You could do all your backgrounds at once. So however many Christmas cards you're going to make, just cut you a stack of paper, all at that 4 by 5 1/4 size, ink all the edges while you're watching TV or something, and then you're good to go. And you've got tons of Christmas cards done that are beautiful and very special, but didn't take you a million years to make. Oh my gosh, Tish, thank you so much. Just saw some new paper. Yes, absolutely. I am really glad that the Christmas stuff is coming back in stock. Let me switch over. We are just about ready to wrap things up, so I'll say goodbye. All right. I hope that you all enjoyed the class. I enjoyed chatting with you. This was definitely a very fun class, an excellent group of people to chat with and spend the last hour with. I had an amazing time. Hope you loved the cards. I would love to see what you all make with all of this. Make sure you use the hashtags. I think, Patty, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it made by Michaels or was it made with Michaels? I don't remember what the hashtag was. There's one, and then make sure you tag Ranger Ink on, if you're on Instagram or anything like that, tag us. I'm at Love Jessco. If you want to share your projects with me on social media, I would love to see them. Make it with Michaels. Thank you. I knew it was something like that, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I'm so sorry. Michael's class, Make It with Michaels and Ranger Ink. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. If you enjoyed the class, I know there will be feedback that comes out, so feel free to share your thoughts. Any feedback that you may have for future classes, we're always open to improving in the future, so be sure to let us know. Thank you all again so much. Again, my name is Jess. Hopefully I will see you in another class really soon. Get creative, make those Christmas cards, and make sure you tag us on social media. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.